Let's see the next topic, students. Radioactivity. So in the previous we have seen this concept, right, regarding the radioactive splitting and all. So unstable, stable nuclei, all this we spoke about. So now here we'll discuss about that radioactivity. In simple terms, if you want to say, the spontaneous decay of naturally occurring unstable nuclei by emission of certain subparticles like alpha, beta, gamma radiations is called natural radioactivity. So the spontaneous decay of naturally occurring unstable nuclei on its own, because later we have artificial transmutation of the elements. There we will discuss about artificially creating the radioactivity. So we will initiate that. So now here our discussion is only because of the natural radioactivity on its own. So if we have an unstable nuclei, if that unstable nuclei becomes stable by giving out certain subparticles like alpha, beta, gamma, such a kind, if it gives out, we call that to be nothing but radioactivity. And the main reason, or you can call it as like the need, is the emission of these rays, which is nothing but alpha, beta, gamma radiations, takes place because of the instability of the nucleus. Just in order to gain stability, every nuclei will go for radioactivity. In the process of emitting these rays, a nucleus always tries to attain the stability. For the stability alone, it will always go for the radioactivity. Understand this. And in general, natural radioactivity takes place in heavy nuclei beyond lead. In the binding energy per nucleon graph we have already seen, beyond lead, or you can call it as in the periodic table if you consider. And there are also naturally radioactive light nuclei such as potassium isotope. Potassium is a radioactive element, and the carbon, best example, which is a radioisotope, and rubidium. All these are also the radioactive elements. Okay, potassium, which is rich in banana. So banana is also one of the it contains, okay, in a larger quantity. Okay. Regarding radioactivity, if you speak about, it is completely unaffected by the physical and chemical conditions to which the nucleus is subjected, which means the radioactivity do not changes its property, which it do not change the radioactivity. It does not lose its radioactivity even if you apply a high temperature, high pressure, strong electric field, etc. All these are like you can call physical and chemical conditions. So radioactivity is completely unaffected. Even if you apply whatever the magnitude of the field, if it wants, then alone the nuclei will go for the disintegration, or else it doesn't. And the nucleus can disintegrate immediately, or it may take infinite time. So you cannot even predict at what time it's going to happen to. And the energy liberated during the radioactive decay comes from the individual nuclei. Understand this point in a very much detail. So for per nucleus we are actually calculating, not on the entire amount. Suppose if you consider 1 gram, that 1 gram contains some thousands of crores of nuclei. So the energy whatever you are actually calculating is from individual nuclei. Now you understand, right, what was the energy we can liberate from a spoonful of uranium or radium. Now you can imagine, right, how much energy we can generate, and that's what it is. So per nucleus we are actually getting 931.5. Later we will understand that per nucleus. But how many nuclei we can contain if you consider 1 gram or one spoonful of. So that was more important here. So coming to the modes of the decay, the radioactive nucleus, which means nothing but in methods of many kinds of, the radioactive nuclei before decay is called a parent nucleus, and the nucleus which results after the decay we call it as a daughter nuclei. Before the radioactivity we call it as parent, and after the radioactivity the resultant, the products what we got are nothing but we call them as daughter nuclei. And remember that daughter nuclei can be a stable nuclei or unstable nuclei, because after that it may continue the process or it may be the final product too. So are you getting the point here? Okay ma? If you want, I can represent in an equation. Let me draw that. Which means, suppose if I have taken x to be the parent, this x gives us some y plus r plus q. Let x, this x is called parent which is undergoing radioactivity, and this y is called daughter. This r is called radiation, and this q is called energy. So this radiation, whatever you are actually speaking, it can be either three ways: alpha, beta, or it can be gamma. And I told you already, this energy also can be a sound energy, light energy, it can be a heat energy, or kinetic energy of the this daughter nuclei, whatever we are actually speaking about. It can be in any format of. So the total energy before and after should always conserve. Are we clear with this? So coming to the part alpha, beta, gamma, and regarding the Soddy-Phazon displacements law, later when once we finish the modes of the decay, we can go for that. Okay, because basing on the various experiments, Rutherford and Soddy has made some radioactive decay laws. The disintegration of radioactive material is purely a random process, and it is merely a matter of chance. Which nucleus will suffer disintegration or decay first cannot be told. It can take, or we have already discussed it, right? This is what I am speaking about. The rate of decay is completely independent of the physical composition and chemical conditions of the material. The rate of decay is directly proportional to the quantity of material actually present at that instant. As the decay goes on, the original material goes on decreasing, and the rate of decay consequently goes on decreasing. So this is much needed, and basing on this third point, we have a law called radioactive disintegration law that we will discuss separately. Anyway, we have a separate topic. So when you consider that, we cannot clearly say that, let's say suppose there are 100 nuclei in the sample what we have taken, we cannot say or we cannot guess which nuclei is going to participate in the radioactivity first, which means we cannot say that 55th nucleus is some random number, 55th nucleus is going to disintegrate. It may happen or it may not happen, we cannot guess. It can be first nuclei itself will go for the disintegration or radioactivity. So we cannot clearly say what is going to happen. So are we clear with this? Regarding the Soddy-Phazon displacement laws, this we will discuss when once we finish the various kinds. What do you mean by alpha, what do you mean by beta, and what do you mean by gamma? When once we finish, we can come back to this. So let's go for the alpha decay first. Let me erase this once so that we can go for that. Okay, let's see the first mode of decay, alpha decay. When we speak about an alpha decay, a nucleus is said to be undergo an alpha decay, or it underwent for an alpha decay when a nucleus disintegrates by radiating alpha rays. It is said to undergo alpha decay. And what do you mean by alpha rays? Alpha rays are nothing but helium. So the particles which are actually coming out, or which are nothing but alpha rays, are actually the constituent particles of this stream of this helium-24. So are we clear with this? Suppose if XZA is the parent which is undergoing for the radioactivity for alpha decay. So if this undergoes for alpha decay, look here, it is giving the daughter nucleus as Y Z-2A-4 plus helium-24 plus Q. Look here carefully. Is it in the format of the previous equation what I have mentioned for you, that when we have an X parent nucleate giving out Y plus radiation plus energy, and this is the radiation and this is the energy, and of course this is the daughter. Have you got the point here? Okay ma? Right. Now look about the variation of the values. Z-2, A-4. What do you mean by this, and how we can get right, or how we are actually writing? I told you, right, in order to have a nuclear reaction, it should follow some of the conservation laws: conservation of charge, conservation of mass number, conservation of energy, linear momentum, angular momentum, all this. Look about this. Energy, it doesn't have any mass number. A-4 is having the for the daughter, and for helium it is 4. A-4 plus 4, how much? A. On the left hand side, A. While for atomic number, Z-2 plus 2, Z. On the left hand side, Z. Conserved, right? So this is how we speak about. Are you getting the point here? And what we can say from this, whenever a nucleus emits an alpha particle, it loses 2 protons and 2 neutrons, and thus as a result atomic number Z decreases by 2 and the mass number A decreases by 4, and of course the neutron number decreases by 2 as usual simultaneously, right? Are we clear in this process? Okay, and remember, both electric charge and nuclear number are conserved in the process of alpha decay. That's it, right? You can notice here both, isn't it or not? Are you getting the point here? Okay ma? Clear, right? So Z decreases by 2, Z minus 2, and A decreases by 4. So remember this condition always, because in order to balance, look here, the left hand side we have a parent, right hand side we have an alpha particle and energy along with a daughter nuclei. So in order to conserve that, we are already having 4, and in order to conserve, what I have to mention the mass number to be A minus 4, and to conserve the atomic number Z minus 2. So making the conservation. So clear with that, right? Okay, now let's go for beta decay. Later in the problems we can go for calculation of the kinetic energy of this daughter nucleus and all. There we will see about the problems regarding the how we can calculate the kinetic energy of the daughter nuclei, kinetic energy of this alpha particle. All this in the problems we will see how we can calculate and all. In the problems we will discuss about in the applications. Now let's finish the theoretical part. So beta decay, coming to the beta decay, a nucleus disintegrates by radiating beta rays, then we can call it as beta decay. And remember, beta particles are nothing but electrons. Beta particles are nothing but electrons, while just like alpha rays are nothing but helium, so we can call that beta particles to be nothing but electrons. Hence whenever a nucleus emits a beta particle, atomic number Z increases by 1 unit and mass number does not change. Remember this. And just like the previous, if you want, I can write down the general notation. If XZA is the nucleus which is undergoing for the beta decay, then that gives us YA Z plus 1, atomic number increases, plus electron, mass number 0. That's it, right? Total number of the neutrons and protons it doesn't possess, so it is 0, while this is minus 1. Are we clear with this? Now go for the conservation. Z plus 1 minus 1, Z satisfied. A plus 0, A satisfied. So clear, right? Are we clear with this? Okay. And here also electric charge and nuclear number are conserved in beta decay also. That's it, right? If you notice it, electric charge and as well as conservation number. Now coming to the last one, gamma decay. A very easy one, no need to worry about that. Whenever a nucleus is undergoing for a gamma decay, we can clearly say that it is just radiating gamma rays. And what do you mean by gamma rays? Gamma rays are nothing but electromagnetic radiations. Gamma rays are electromagnetic radiations of shorter wavelength. Short wavelength. Gamma rays are electromagnetic radiations of short wavelength, and the emission of gamma rays from the nucleus does not alter either atomic number or the mass number. It just results in the change of the energy state alone. So which means if you consider this to be the parent ZA, the state will be in the higher energy state, so I can represent it in the format of like a star, which indicates it is in high energy state. It comes to the ground state by giving us, of course here is ZA plus gamma, of course photons, which are nothing but electromagnetic radiation. Photon or photons, it can be whatever it is, photon or photons. Okay, so this star denotes it is in high energy state, while here you can notice there it's in a ground state. Are we clear with this? And when a parent nucleus emits an alpha or a beta particle, the daughter nucleus may be formed in one of the excited state. Such a nucleus will eventually comes to the ground state in the process of gamma radiation. Understand this concept, like gamma decay is like a continuation part, which means Here you can notice alpha and beta. We got this daughter nucleus, right? This daughter nucleus in either alpha or beta can be in higher excited state or in higher energy state. So that daughter nuclei in either alpha or beta will come to the ground state by releasing a photon, and this is what the gamma decay refers to. Are we clear with this? Okay ma? Right. Now let's look about a regular convention like of or you can call it as like a simple note. When once a particular nuclei undergo for certain conditions or certain kinds of the decay, what will be the final products we are going to get? Let's see that. Let me write down once. Okay, look here once. Suppose we have a nucleus XZA. If this undergoes for an alpha decay, what happens? It gives us Y Z minus 2 A minus 4, right? Now what happens if this daughter nuclei Y undergoes for 2 beta decays 2 times? Obviously the mass number doesn't understand that. What happens? It becomes A minus 4, while this reduces by 2 times, no, so it will be nothing but Z again. Array, what we can call this? Here look at the parent, the starting product, it XZA, while at the end also we got XZ A minus 4 having same proton number, which is nothing but here you can notice, while their mass numbers are different. What we can call this? Same number of protons are there. What we call that? Same number of protons. So these two are now what we call them? Same number of protons. They are, yes, isotopes. The third letter, do you remember? P, protons. Okay, right. Suppose this is example 1. Example 2. Again considering XZA, one nucleus. Now if it undergoes for a beta decay, imagine if this nucleus undergo for a beta decay, what happens if it undergo for a beta decay? Minus beta, negative beta decay. Later we have kinds of, there we'll discuss about positive beta decay, negative beta decay, not much necessary, but anyway at the end of the topic, end of the chapter, we'll discuss about kinds of the beta decay. Okay, so for that beta decay, if it goes for, I can get that Y mass number doesn't changes, Z plus 1. Okay, what do you mean by this? What we call this? Their mass numbers are same. What we call such kind of nuclei? Mass numbers are same. They are isobars. A is same, so isobars. Suppose third one, same XZA is in high energy state, giving out gamma photon or gamma rays coming to the ground state. What is the resultant we got here, and what we call that? What we can call this? Same atomic number, same mass number. What we call these two? Now these are isomers. Are we clear with this? Do you got the point here? So whenever a radioactive nuclei gives out the different kinds of, now how you do you understand why we spoke about all these isotopes, isobars, isomers, all this earlier? Now do you got the point here, ma? Are we clear with this? Hence we can call it as an isomer formed whenever this energy constraint was taken into account. Clear, right? Okay, now let us discuss about those Sodde-Fagen displacement laws. Earlier we have discussed it, right? Sodde-Fagen displacement laws. So now I told you, when once we finish the modes of the decay, we'll discuss. That is what here. So look here, Sodde-Fagen displacement law refers to when we have a parent nuclei, if it undergoes for alpha decay, its mass number reduces by 4, atomic number reduces by 2, and whenever we have an parent nuclei, if it undergoes for beta decay, its mass number doesn't changes, atomic number increases by 1, and whenever we have a parent nuclei and if it undergoes for gamma decay, there will be no change, but here the energy will be transferred. This kind of whatever the variation in the numbers which have been given, because earlier we just stated that alpha beta gamma decays alone will be given out. The proper notation how and all these changes has been given by Soddy-Faisen displacement laws. So whatever we have discussed earlier here in this regarding the alpha decay, beta decay, gamma decay, we have seen that, right? And that all nothing but the Soddy-Fasen displacement laws. Suppose if you want any comparison between all this alpha, beta, gamma, what are they, and because we have already seen that, right? Individually you might have been very familiar with all these kind of the properties, which is nothing but properties of an alpha ray, which is nothing but helium nucleus, and properties of an electron and properties of the photon we have studied. So here is a comparison of all the three. So identity, charge, mass, speed, effect of electric and magnetic field, and ionization power in comparison with the gamma rays, with respect to the gamma rays we are speaking about, penetration power, and equation of decay, which means how the nuclei will disintegrate. So all these are here, just go through them. It's nothing difficult. You can just understand basic stuff alone regarding the properties, physical features and all. Okay, and keep in mind that regarding the effect of photographic plate and causing the fluorescence on this particular, all these are common for all, so it doesn't matter. So effect on photographic plate and they cause fluorescence is common for both alpha, beta, gamma rays, so it doesn't matter. And regarding the properties, physical features and all have been already mentioned here, just go through them all. Okay, are we clear with this? Okay ma, right. Let's see the next topic, deflection of radioactive radiations in electric and magnetic fields. Let us consider this. Suppose I have a positively charged metal plate and here is a negatively charged metal plate, and here is inside a metal block, lead block, let's say suppose, which is strong enough, I have placed a radioactive element and the electric field is in between positive to negative, right? So this is what the direction. In that situation, how the alpha, beta, gamma radiations will be affected? First of all, let's start from alpha. What do you mean by alpha? Alpha particles are nothing but helium-2,4 nuclei, that's it, right? Positively charged. So there is no other way. The alpha rays will go towards the negatively charged plate. Positively charged, right? Alpha rays are. Hence they will go toward, they deflect towards the negative charged plate. And remember, you can mention these points also in the comparison which we have seen here. We have mentioned only the 8 physical main features, right? So here you can see electric and magnetic will deflected, not deflected, we have seen, right? So towards what it was, you can mention here. Okay, so alpha rays will go towards the negatively charged, while beta positive, I told you already, at the end we will discuss about that, so no need to worry. There are two kinds, beta positive and beta negative. So beta positive will tend towards the negatively charged, this is beta plus, while beta negative will go towards the positive plate, while the last one, which is nothing but the gamma radiation, goes undeviated, it goes straight, it doesn't involve any deviation because they are chargeless, right? Now coming to the next one, suppose if the block, or you can call it as the material, is placed in a magnetic field like this. What do you mean by this direction? It is coming out of the plane of the paper like this, in such a field, uniform field, magnetic field. In such situation, and if it is the radioactive element, what we are actually speaking about, if we consider, the alpha rays will bend towards the right side, these are of alpha, while beta positive also will be towards the same, beta plus. Beta negative will go towards left, while gamma will go undeviated, no problem in this. Are we clear with this? Y and all you have already very familiar with, in what direction the magnetic field will exist whenever the motion of the charged particle. Beta particle and alpha particle are nothing but motion of the charged particle in the magnetic field, right, which you have already studied. Do you remember? That's what I am speaking about. Suppose if I change the direction of the magnetic field like this, if I change so, which means if it is into the plane of the paper, if it is like this, then what is the situation? Again here I have placed the block, and now the situation is quite reverse. Alpha, beta positive, beta negative, gamma doesn't, always the same, because direction of the magnetic field has been reversed, right? So obviously the orientation or the movement of the charged particles moving towards that respective directions also will change. Are we clear with this? Okay, ma? Is that clear for everybody regarding the radioactivity and regarding the properties, regarding the disintegration, modes of the decay, and as well as all the properties? Are we clear with this? Right.